Is it time to go short on Vechain's VET token? Guys, in today's video, we're going to be jumping into the technical analysis on VET, taking a look at the technical analysis and sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think the price action is heading. Guys, let's roll the intro and get right down into it. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick, and today we are of course discussing the technical analysis around Vechain's VET token. As I get into today's video, smash that like button. Let's see if we can hit 500 likes on today's video. If you do are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe and stay up to date with all the content that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏. Guys, let's get right down into today's video. So Vechain paired up with USDT. We're on the one-day Binance chart, and well, we've seen a fair amount of slippage to the downside for Vechain's VET token since they announced the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗃 and all that kind of good stuff. We have seen the market move down 40%. Now, that is actually incredibly good because we've seen many altcoins go down 60% during the same time period. So Vechain's VET token is actually held up incredibly well in light of the rest of the crypto market. 40% when we can see other altcoins at 50, 60% shows you there's a lot of strength in the VET price action, indicating that there's not a lot of selling pressure in comparison to other altcoins. That has allowed Vechain's VET token to hold up incredibly well. However, there are a few things that we need to consider. We are, of course, up against resistance right now. We can see here that we do have the lower lows and the lower highs going on the daily time frame, but we're also facing the resistance of the 50 exponential moving average and the 50 simple moving average. You can see at the moment we're trying to find support around the 200-day EMA, and if we can find it as support, we can rally from here, then we might actually have a chance at a breakout situation. However, should we close lower than the 200-day exponential moving average yet again, then my expectations are that we see further slippage to the downside for Vechain, and unfortunately that could mean that we have to go down a little bit deeper towards the 2.9 to 3.226. And if that doesn't hold, unfortunately, maybe a little bit more. But that's a positive because it's a huge opportunity to dollar cost average into what I believe is going to be a fantastic run for Vechain's price action. Now, the structure that we see before us here on the charts is actually a pretty standard corrective action. It's not a trend to the downside or anything like that. And this overlapping nature of candlesticks shows us that there's weakness in the correction to the downside. It shows us it's a short-term movement and is not a long-term movement. So we're not overly too concerned about the short-term volatility. We might have to come down towards these lower ranges just a little bit, but from here I do expect us to see a fantastic run to the upside. Now, we need to obviously measure out everything that's going on here for Vechain. So let's go ahead and take our measurements, right? So the first thing we need to do is we need to ascertain, where we currently sit here with Vechain's price action. You can see here that this is just a standard three-wave movement. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this in right in here. So we have a standard three-wave. You can also see a standard three-wave move to the upside just over this side as well. Go ahead and put that in. You can see it comes right up into that one-to-one, just like the previous wave structure. So not a problem. And we go ahead and put that in. Here we see a lot more volatility though. And this one is a little bit trickier to see. Okay, I'm going to have to expand our fibs just a little bit here because there is a wick that comes up quite aggressively right into here. Okay, this move in itself allowed us to move down. Again, we actually come down into the one-to-one ratio, and it took a little bit of time to get there, but we did get there. And so we can see here that we have this idea, and I'm going to draw it up there just so you can see it's quite tight, but it's in there. And then that puts us with actually this low just over here. Then we have this overlapping corrective move up towards the 50 exponential moving average. And this is the problem because right inside here, this movement in itself shows us with weakness. Okay, so we have got a three-wave correction right here, here, and here. Okay, standard stuff, nothing too major. But we then have another one just in here as well. Again, so this is now showing us with a potential move up a little bit higher, but it doesn't show us great strength in this move at the moment. All of this is showing us as a corrective move. So if we are to see a push higher, it's going to be short-lived. I think we might get a small run up towards the previous area of support resistance at 3.8 to 3.9, and that will be another three-wave pattern. So we'll have something maybe like this, and then after that I expect us to look at all of this as a bigger three-wave pattern that will come in like so. That will then allow us to break on down into new lower lows on the daily time frame before we rally. Ultimately, this area that we find ourselves in on Vechain's VET token is that it's a ranging market. It's a continuation pattern. Okay, basically we're trading between the high and the low, and we're just going sideways. That in itself is known as a continuation pattern, meaning that we're likely to continue whatever led into it. And unfortunately, the move that led into it was a very corrective move to the downside. Now, we hope that this next leg to the downside holds at 2.9 to 3.2. And if it does, then we can start rallying up more significantly. If we see further slippage to the downside out of this area, then we are going to be more aggressively looking at that 2.5 cent range and seeing whether that's going to hold out. There's an interesting range just in here of previous resistance come support. Okay, so we hope that we hold here. If not, then of course we'll see, unfortunately, a little bit more of a move to the downside in a more bearish way. Okay, so I guess to kind of summarize everything off that I've just spoken about, I'm expecting a little bit more volatility to the upside, a potential wick above the 50 exponential moving average, 50 simple moving average, and should that close, it might give the bulls a little bit more confidence. From our stochastic RSI, as you can see, we've got a little bit more momentum available to us on the daily time frame, indicating that we still have potential moves higher. The same is said for the hourly chart, but not the 4 or the 8 hour. They are actually overbought, so we expect some volatility here for Vechain, right? A little bit of a push to the upside, but ultimately we are looking for a move to the downside with the bigger, wider market. Bitcoin's in a very similar position where we will be looking for a correction on Bitcoin. Bitcoin corrects, the altcoins will correct, everything will kind of move down in tandem. So we are still looking for a bit more move to the upside for Bitcoin. We're looking for a bit more move to an upside on Vechain, and then we're looking, unfortunately, to test out those previous lows. Hopefully we'll find some good support in that range between 2.9 and 3.2. Should we do that, then I think we're in a really strong position. If we take off the stochastic, throw on the divergence indicator, you can see that we're fighting against that mid-level, trying to get the RSI, the relative strength index, into a bullish position, but it's really struggling. It's not showing us with the idea that there's a lot of momentum behind the price action to support the idea of a trend breakout to the upside. So be a little bit cautious. There's no divergences though, so that's okay. I'm not terribly too concerned about that. If we throw on the volumes and bring back up price action, you can see the volumes have dropped all the way down as we start to have this ranging market. So again, an indication that there isn't really a lot of appetite for buying or selling at these current prices for Vechain's VET token. Okay, so on the daily time frame, expect volatility. Right, we're going to be looking for a small move to the upside, then we're going to be looking for a move to the downside, and then we're looking for a breakout from there. Hopefully we'll have a nice significant rally afterwards. If we jump this to the weekly chart, we can see that we are tracking a pretty decent structure overall. Right? We had the 5-wave pattern. Okay, this is an incredibly bullish one. So 5 waves to the upside, indicating that we still have another 5-wave move to the upside and our minimum expectations. If we do come down towards our weekly 200 EMA, okay, you can see it right here, coming in at 3.07 cent. It's not a coincidence that it's down there within our target range of our daily chart at 2.9 to 3.2, because we do see the 50 exponential average coming in at 3.2 cent. Okay, this area, if it holds with the lower lows, the lower highs, this is going to be a fantastic correction, and it is going to be basically the place for reversal for Vechain's VET token. Now, if I go ahead and put on a Fibonacci retracement tool, this happens to also coincide with 38.2%, which is your very typical kind of area of a retracement. So we're looking for some pretty decent levels here, I think, on Vechain. If we do come down to 3.149, being that conservative area, then we are going to be looking for a breakout towards 13.14 to 18.4. And if we do get the impulsive breakout, which is what we'll hope for, that's going to happen here at the 1.618. That's going to be 31.773, which will then signal a further move to the upside after another brief correction. Okay, and what I mean by all of this is that 5-wave move that we see here. This would basically be a wave 1. This move that we're currently in is a wave 2. Up here at 31.77 would trigger a wave 3. We go down into a wave 4, and then we have that final rally to the upside where we head out towards the $1 level. But again, that's going to be a discussion for another day, because obviously those price targets, those price predictions on the longer term are kind of up for debate. But until we see the candles, until we kind of get into the right structures, we can only but speculate. And for the most part, Vechain's actually looking okay on the weekly time frame. Our momentum's in a really strong position. It's nice and oversold. I'm not terribly too concerned about any of the things I'm seeing there. From our relative strength index, we can see that we're basically trying to find support on the 50 level, just above it at 50.22. Trying to get some bullish momentum back. But again, we might even see this one move down a bit further before we get that run to the upside. Volume profiles. Actually, let me bring that back. Volume profiles on our weekly time frame show us that there's strength in this correction. Okay, and what I mean by that is that there's a decrease in volume as we've decreased in price. There's no divergence, and it gives us strength in the long-term price action. It shows that we actually are likely to see a significant surge to the upside. We saw volumes increasing as we were pushing up, and volumes are decreasing as we're pushing down. This is an indication that there is less of an appetite to sell Vechain and more of an appetite to buy Vechain on a macro scale, indicating that this area of support is hopefully going to hold at 2.9 to 3.2. And should that be the case, then I think we're going to be in a really strong position here for Vechain's VET token on the longer term. Now, I'm going to kind of leave the video right there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What is your long-term price prediction for Vechain's VET token? And if you haven't checked out this video right here, I urge you guys to check it out and find out what's going on with BTC.